You're watching What She Said on YouTube.
Hello there, I'm Christine Bentley, joined in studio by Kate Wheeler, and we are joined by, let's call her a mature author, Joan Barrett, because she's written a book all about the mature online dating game. So welcome, Joan.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
That.
I think someone needs to talk about us.
Really?
It's time. It's time.
I am Joan. I've been married for many, many years. All right. Now, the majority of my girlfriends are single. So, and they are doing online dating things.
Great.
And I am hearing stories about all kinds of things that they go through. Now, and I have questions that they have asked me to ask.
Super.
So
Wonderful.
I mean, let's just plow right in.
Good.
Okay, the one that I am hearing most of is, how do you get men in their 50s to actually look at women who are the same age, so that the women don't have to lie about their age just to fit into the search parameters these egotistical jokers put down. Bitter much there, my friend?
Yes. Yeah, the age parameters, that's it's the biggest area of fibs.
Okay.
You know, and they're not deadly lies, they're just fibs. And both the men and the women lie about age, by the way. Both of them. And it is tough about the parameters, because you do want to fit into search parameters. But there is a way around that. And I was advised by someone about that, a lawyer, actually, about that. And he said, you know, if you put the wrong age in the top filter, when you have the main text, you should immediately state your real age, and it's fair then to the reader, to the contact that is looking at you.
But if a man that's like, say, 55 is putting in an age range of 21 to 35, I mean, what?
Then you know you don't want to date him, for sure. I mean, really, let's be real. You don't want him.
And the other thing, but to not get these two questions out of the way, then I've asked them, because I've been told to ask them, and then Christine has a list too.
Yeah.
But the other one is that I hear a lot that there's a lot of conversations, people meet online, and that they go, they chat, and then they set up the nice coffee meet sort of on a Sunday morning, something that's not too aggressive, not too intimidating, and then the guy just disappears. Like, they don't even make it to the coffee. They just vanish.
Oh, they don't even get to the coffee.
No, it's just like the
it's a
thrill
game
of
of just
chase.
getting, the chase. Yes, but I think they haven't done their vetting before they get to the point to make the coffee date. I think you have to spend time on your emailing and on a phone conversation, at least one.
They did that.
Oh, and they actually did that.
Yeah,
and
this
then
has
the men
happened
just didn't
repeatedly
show up.
from different women.
They
4
did.
different women have told me the same story. Then there's like it's like Friday. It's like, well, how about we meet for coffee Sunday? Okay, we'll confirm on Sunday morning, and then you never hear from the guy again.
They've moved on. Well, it is a Candyland. That's why the title of the book is Candyland S.I.N.S, because it is a Candyland and a lot of tempting treats. So and there are such a choice, like a candy store. So maybe they found others. And then again, I always look at that. It's a matter of attitude. If somebody backs off at whatever stage, even that early stage, it's for the better. You wouldn't want to continue and get into it and have them back off later, because of their nature of that person.
Christine gets really young guys trying to ask
Oh,
her.
I originally resisted, because I thought, this is like, the guys are getting off easy here. This is like, you don't even have to go to a bar and buy somebody a drink. You could just go through pages and pages and pick out exactly, I want the blonde with the big boobs and the whatever. I mean, 21. I mean, I'll tell her I'm 40. I mean, whatever. And but now I'm taking a break. I figure I'm just going to wait and hope to meet the guy in Loblaws. I mean, I know it's not going to happen. I know you're going to tell me that.
It won't happen. I mean, all the years that I've been single, nobody taps me on the shoulder and said, gee, I'd really love to meet you.
Well, so the book took you 24 months.
To write.
In gestation.
Yes.
So, but you really felt committed to doing this, and why?
Why? Off and on over an 8-year period, I've been dating online. More online than not. And that had to do with the nature of the relationships that do develop or don't develop along the way. But at the end of it all, there was an instance with Joan Rivers, and I'd like to maybe mention that, the late Joan Rivers. We have a mutual friend, and
Mrs.
Joan
Saunders.
Yes, I mentioned that. Elaine, my good buddy Elaine, and she did Joan's makeup. And Joan, over the years, has talked through Elaine to me about my dating experiences. And Joan was going to write a book on mature dating, so she asked about that. Asked Elaine, what's Joan Barrett doing? And I wrote a 10-page, 10 pages to her, and Elaine happened to be there, and she said Joan was so excited she started texting her writers about what I had to say, and it was funny. It was a lot of fun stuff. And then finally she said, we're going to blow the lid off this, and we're going to write more of the book about online dating. And then Elaine said to me, Joan, as in Joan Barrett, why don't you write the book? You're living it. And I have been living it, really, over the 8-year period.
One of the things that I find surprising is that the boomer generation is the fastest growing segment of this online dating industry. You would think that, I see ads on TV, and it's kids, it's 21-year-olds that are saying
Tinder and stuff, right?
Well, no, but it was for Match.com.
But it's the matures.
Actually.
The matures are the fastest growing segment of the online industry, and it's a $2 billion industry, by the way. Do you know 1/3 of all marriages have originated since 2005 have originated online dating? So it's the biggest area, and to address about this age group entering, it's the baby boomers that are entering the mature years, and it's doubled. The divorce rate has doubled for the over 50-year-olds, has doubled in the last 20 years. So all of those people, they're no longer anomalies. They're the majority of the population now, the singles. And so that online dating is really the only game in town, unless you want to go to bars. There's not a lot.
And you're right, because that's the other thing. No, that's the other thing that I hear a lot from my single and online dating, or like Christine is taking a break from it, friends. It's like, where do they go? They don't want to go and hang out in bars. You say meeting in Loblaws doesn't happen. Going to the bar was different when you were 20, 30, maybe,
it's a different scene. It's a group.
And it's noisy. You can't have a conversation, and you can't get a good sense of somebody. So, do you hang around in the bookshop? Do you? It seems
a lot of
that online is the only option.
There's such a density and diversity of people on there wanting the same thing you want. Trying to achieve. 98% of them want to find a special someone. There's no doubt about that. When the younger, now I'm talking about in the mature years, in the younger scenes, yes, they're dating a lot more and having more of a extended fun. But in the mature years, and those studies say that 98% of the men are looking for long-term relationships.
So, Joan, let's break it down for men and women, because in this boomer generation, women complain largely. There are some specific complaints about people not showing up, but largely the perception is amongst us that the men who are on there, if they're successful, they want somebody younger. They want a 30-year-old, and I see it everywhere. I see it when I'm out everywhere. And so women feel that they're
marginalized a bit.
Yes.
Yes.
So what is the answer to that?
Well, the answer.
There are men who are average who are saying she wants a superstar, and I'm just an average guy.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we have to be realistic about our expectations, and that's what you're talking about as a mature woman, and what you can expect. You're not offering perfection as you age, so you're not going to achieve perfection in the dating world. And then you have to realize too that you're going to have to accept there are going to be people with foibles and flaws, and that'll be part of the people you meet, and you have to give them a chance, like they should be giving us a chance, and they do. I have to say, I am approached too by the younger men on the site, but sometimes I see that they're actually older men putting younger ages in there. This is true, and there's one right now, exactly. When a man says he's 61 and he's looking for a woman 55 to 65, you can pretty much guarantee he's 68. Okay, right. So there's a fibbing a little bit, of fudging with those ages, and you have to kind of overlook the age a bit. Age is just a number, and it should be unlisted, because, as we know, you can look 20 years older and feel 20 years older or 20 years younger than a chronological age. Biological age is really what it's about. But you have to meet the right person that's open to that.
We're talking to Joan Barrett. She's the author of Candyland S.I.N.S. Now, S.I.N.S is an acronym for something. What? Take us through that.
Yes, I coined that playfully for Singles Internet Dating Services.
Okay.
And it is all about online dating, but I was trying to think of a short term throughout my book. I use it, joining S.I.N.S and being part of S.I.N.S, and it can be as apropos as you want that term to be. So, and it's true. And I think what you do learn, you evolve in online dating. You're thinking the world you come from is fairly isolated with your experiences. Through online dating, you expand beyond your imagination, truly. I have met so many interesting people, and my thoughts on how I want to live my life and what I want to pursue in life have changed because of that online dating experience. I've dated from anywhere from a country music singer, a race car driver, to a Fortune 500 executive president of Fortune 500 company, a lawyer to the mob. I didn't find that out till later. but those things, there's
and you're still alive.
And I'm still alive. Yes, I'm still alive. We straightened that out. But you just have such a diversity that eventually, your world expands. It truly does.
See, to me, the whole thing is terrifying, because I met through a blind date. But the idea of actually putting a profile about myself online and going out and meeting somebody that I've never laid eyes on before, it's scary.
But, it's not a stranger. By the time you meet them, you have had a number of email conversations plus phone conversations. And you don't ever have to meet them if you don't want to. You can cut it at any point. And you're totally anonymous, so you shouldn't be afraid of the person you meet.
But so are they. What if they're a serial killer?
But you're meeting in public places. I mean, I have actually four chapters on safety. I actually navigate everybody, and for men and women, I navigate them through even the thought process, who they are. They're vulnerable. They've come out of broken marriages or lost partners. They're generally not from their volition, have arrived at being single generally. So I bring them through that, and by the time they get to the point of the first date, and that first date is really an interview. And you have to be careful. I mean, I have lists of questions to make sure that you ask, that you fill in the blanks that they didn't fill in on their profile. A lot of people are clever in avoiding certain parts of their lives too, right? And so actually it's what you don't read is actually more important than what you do read on that. Yeah.
Well, Joan, we're going to explore more how you prepare people psychologically, physically, emotionally, and what your key messages are, and all that stuff when we come back after this short break. This is What She Said on Canada Talks, Sirius XM, and we will be right back. And I'm Christine Bentley in studio with Kate Wheeler, and joining us is Joan Barrett, and we are talking about the online dating scene for the boomer generation. And now, Joan, you say that you prepare people, and one of the preparations is expectations. We got that lesson from one of our coworkers who went on, met somebody, and first time out. I mean, I've never known anybody.
2-sentence profile.
Yeah.
And because she'd never done it before, she didn't know what to write.
Right.
Just coming out of a messy separation and divorce, decided to go out there, and she's first time.
It does happen. It isn't, it isn't that normal, but it does happen. I've heard of others actually on the first date.
But her advice was to really think about your expectations. Do not go in there with this long list. Be realistic.
What you need as opposed to what you want.
Exactly, and you have to realize you're not offering perfection, so you can't expect it. So you have to broaden your horizons, be open. There's no doubt about that. And I've evolved in my thinking of whom I wanted. It's changed. My priorities have changed throughout the online dating process.
From what to what?
I think initially, I was anxious to find that special someone right away. The one that was that magic man that was just going to complete my life. Well, I don't need anyone to complete my life. That's one thing. I have grown as an individual. I address that in the book too. It's a chapter called The Best You. And what you do for yourself to make, when you emerge from sins, you will emerge, maybe you might not have found the special someone, but you found the special someone in you, for sure, because you were exposed to so many people and so many ways of living and so many thoughts on how to live that you do change, and for the better. I absolutely find that. Yeah.
It's a lot of work, though. People should be prepared for it. It's a lot of work.
You know that.
I mean, you get emails, and then you've got to check it out, and then emailing back and forth, and then picture. And I once had coffee with a guy who, seriously, was 35 years older than his picture, and I said, come on. And he said, so what?
But
and I said, well, so what? I mean, you're like 90.
Yeah, I know he's wasted your time and his.
You're older than my father was. I mean, seriously, what do you mean, so what?
Yeah,
I mean that
happens.
Taken...
But again, you get back to what I talk about in the book: vetting that person, all the questions that you ask in your emails and in your phone conversations before you even get to meet for coffee. I don't go out a lot for coffee or a drink until I really think there's potential. That's me. Everybody's different. Some people just enjoy a lot of that social interaction.
And some people say if you're really serious about it, you should be on a number of sites.
Absolutely.
You should be on, half a dozen sites, not just one. If you're serious about meeting someone.
At least 3. I do that, 3 or 4.
Really?
And you vary them. There are over 1,500 sites.
But is that not a full-time job?
It can be, especially if you have a good profile. You do get approached a lot. You can literally, if you want to be, you can be out every night of the week, because you really do have a lot of people anxious to meet you. At least I find that, and I discuss how to really put together an excellent profile. I've had over 22,000 views on my profile over these years, because it's about not just about your actual picture. It's about what's behind you. It's what you're doing in that profile. You don't have to be the most beautiful person, but they're interested in your life and your lifestyle. And then what you write is very, very important. And
one of my friends, I was chuckling there because the picture that you use is also very important. I sort of lived vicariously through my girlfriends, and she brought in to a restaurant one night, slammed down on the table, okay, these are the 5 profile pics I got today. And it was one with a guy lounging on his bed with various lubricants
in full
view on the nightstand table. The second one was, just an odd picture, but then it's the pièce de résistance, number 5. She just slapped it down and said, and this is what my life has become. His profile picture was him, no disrespect to the art of this man, but was him in his full mime costume. And she's like... It's like, really? This is how you want to present yourself? Now I'm out there dating mimes. Like, this is not good.
I've had everything. I've had, I've had an Indian chief with his full headdress on. And I had a yogi with his robe, and a prisoner in his orange jumpsuit. You do get a lot. So that you do have fun, actually, with it. It's entertaining, and I can tell you, it can be a great ego trip as well.
Well, let me ask you, so if you happen on a profile and 13 of the 15 pictures are the guy and the dog, what does that tell you?
He likes dogs.
Yeah,
he's a loving pet owner.
He's a nester. I'd say he likes.
I'd say that's good.
Yeah. I mean, you think there's not enough room
You're
for a
dog.
woman? I
You're
don't
a
know.
dog lover.
I am a dog lover. I am a dog lover. Yeah. I am a huge dog lover. But still, I kind of wonder, is there anything else more to you than this? It's like, I don't want to go for dinner and just talk about your dog for the next 400 hours.
What is worse is the men with the fish. I've said so many men holding a fish up in front of them, and I do think there's some meaning to that, because I cannot imagine how many men go fishing that want to email me.
So let's take us through from the beginning then. Okay, so what should it say in your profile?
What should you say?
Yes, what should you
say? Well, number one, whatever you say should be authentic. It should be honest, and that's one thing I really suggest in the book. Eventually, they will find out if you're dishonest, whether height, weight, age. They find out within the first meeting or second meeting. So, what you should say is number one, the truth about everything. Number two, showing the best side of you, the interesting things that you want to find in somebody else. When they're looking at the profiles, they're looking for the keys of interest that they want in their life. So you try to present a true picture of yourself. So somebody that finds you will find the right match.
But you said it was fair to lie about your age so you get the view, as long as you're honest about your age.
I'm not saying it's fair, but that's the only way around it. And I did try to lie about my age once when I turned 65 because of the search parameters that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Because men will search 55 to 64 or whatever. So when I turned 66 or 65, I kicked it down about 3 years. And sure enough, it was a lawyer, that said, you should really state the right age, and the way to do it is. And he's right. I think if you want to, I can understand trying to stay in the parameters because you do knock yourself out of certain searches, and I can see that, but right away. And it's actually a good test to see if they've read your profile and not just looking at your pictures. A lot of men will email you, and I'm sure women do the same thing, will email just because they like your picture. Well, that's not the full picture of you. So I think it's a good...
The other thing that caught my attention was not many dating books like this, you really flagged the issue of sex and unprotected sex for this demographic.
Yes.
Because this demographic grew up before AIDS and before...
Exactly. I mean, we really didn't know a lot about protection when we were in high school or university. But now, and we're thinking, well, we're older, we're not going to be pregnant, etc. But now it's the STDs, the sexually transmitted diseases, and it's the biggest growth area of STDs is in the mature age group. The studies out of the UK brought that up. Yes, it is, and I've even talked to it in the hospital and talking to some of the aides there, and they said, oh, definitely they see a big influx of the matures coming in for STD tests, and they should. And before you do have sex, and I have one whole chapter on sex and a lot related to that, and before you should definitely have the STD tests. Both of you, both partners. And, hopefully you can get to that point in time because it's too late. It's not like they have it stamped on their heads. I have, this STD or their partners that they have been to bed with. Not that they have it stamped on their heads because you are subjected to their partners, that the previous partners they've had, they can be carrying those STDs with them.
Kate's eyes are glazing over because she's been married for so long. She doesn't.
I know. Okay.
What is the etiquette of when you start to see somebody that you've met online? When do you start asking whether they're taking their profile down or you should take your profile down?
Oh, that is so tricky. I've suffered through that. I truly, it is very tricky, but I have to say when you, not everybody proceeds at the same speed and they have their own issues and particularly intimacy issues. It appears a lot of men have intimacy issues. I address that in the book too. It's hard but it has to be brought up at a certain point, particularly if they are going to bed with others and that's related. I mean, before you go to bed, you have to really know that they're not going to bed with others, and you should have that STD. In the ideal world of dating, they should have the STD, and they should be ready for that commitment, and take their profile down, because when their profile is up, they're announcing to the world, that's an advertisement, I'm ready to date, I'm looking. So while that profile is up, you're not safe. No.
So where can people get your book?
They can get it online, Candyland S.I.N.S at Amazon.com and on BarnesandNoble.com. And I would suggest when you do say input Candyland S.I.N.S, you use the S.I.N.S because of the way it was inputted into the booksellers.
Cool. It's a fascinating story, and we're very glad to find out that it is possible to meet somebody and have a great relationship first time out.
Absolutely. It's the best.
She's smiling.
It can happen. It can happen to you, Christine. Absolutely.
No, I've already been on, and nothing's happened to me.
Not yet. But look at you've been out dating too, and has it happened on the regular dating scene too?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm not lovable. I'm just not lovable.
Oh, yes, you are.
Click the channel subscribe button for full-length interviews and more from What She Said here on YouTube.